today, who will answer any questions. We have pretty easy topic today. Not easy, but cool topic today. We're going to talk about two things. They've come out in previous versions, but we're going to rehash them again, as they're always good features to use. And, it's always good to rehash some old topics and stuff. We can only talk about the same stuff so many times. So today we're going to talk about Live Copy Master and Live Macros. Let's start with Live Copy Master. This started in about 1950, I think, software version. So it's been around a little while. It allows you to pretty much take a copy of an existing group of fixtures that you have already programmed, and then copy those to some fixtures that you have not programmed. So I'm going to use, for example, in this show file, these fixtures here. So I've got, if I can grab them, there we go. I've got these spots here, and I've got 3 Qs in these spots. Blue, just fan out. It's going to go to green. There's a gobo in there. And then it's going to go back to red. So really, we're looking at colors here, a little bit about the gobos, but pretty much about the color, and a little bit maybe about the position as well, depending on what other fixtures you're going to be using. So there's a couple ways. There's really 2 ways that you can do this. Again, the purpose is like, so say we have a bunch of spots here, and let's say that someone gave us some lights to use, or in the first example, let's say we forgot to program a group of lights that are in the rig, or we just ran out of time and we wanted to add those. So in that case, what we would do is record an empty Q stack. So you would just say record and click an empty Q stack. I've already done it here, so I'm just creating the same thing pretty much on playback 8 that I have on playback 3 here. Notice how it says LC here in the corner. That stands for live copy. So that's our indication that this is a live copy playback. Notice how this doesn't have that live copy, that LC here anymore. I'm going to triple tap this and open up the settings. Going to go to function. Group ID is going to be the ID of the fixtures that you want to copy to. So if I open this up, I'm going to say, let's do the profiles. Or you know what? I'm going to do, yeah, I think we can do group 10. It looks like these are the same. So I'm going to do group 10. I want to make it a live copy master. This is just a yes or no answer. So it's just yes, I want to make this. Now it says live copy LC. And then you want to tell it what fixtures you want to copy from. So I want to copy from my spots, which is going to be group 7. And that should be about it. If I bring up this fader now, or press play and bring this up, you should see that my fixtures here in the back are also blue. If I press play, they change. They also add a gobo. Now, notice how the gobos are different. Here we have whatever. It's going to be the same gobo wheel and the same gobo in that wheel. But here you got, these whatever, these ovals, and here you got these little flower things. It's because they're different fixtures. So, every fixture is going to have different stuff going on. But the general rule is going to be the position and the color, and then some of the other, maybe the zoom ranges, like I say, the gobo wheel and stuff like that, which one you're using, gobo 1, gobo 2, if you have a prism in there. It's going to try and copy as much of it as it can. And that's it. I mean, it's really pretty much that simple. So again, we made a empty Q stack, triple tapped it to go into the options function. Group ID is going to be the fixtures that you want to copy, the ones that you're trying to make copies of, or copy to, should I say. And then these are the ones you're copying from. And then just say yes on Live Copy Master. So this is the profiles. I did it again here. I put some generic LEDs. This was just, and these are literally just generic LEDs that are on the side here. I put 4 and 4 on each side. So again, imagine you go to a venue, you're touring and you go to a venue and they say, you know what, hey, we got these extra, just Chinese LEDs here in the back. You want to use these? And if you haven't programmed them, or if it's only an hour to the show, you can say, yeah, let's just put them in the back. We'll set them up. I'll do a live copy master. And again, these are washes, so I'm not going to get the full kind of thing out of it. We're not going to get gobos. We're not going to get, you'll get zoom. If we had zoom in there, you'd get other stuff. But you notice how it's copying everything. And you can bring them out. You still have intensity, so of course you can still bring them out and in. That's one way of doing it. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. The second way to do it is to actually write a queue and then include into the queue what attributes you want copied by that live copy master. Okay, so for example, I have one here that I already did. This one says tilt. Got to turn it on. So that is that's tilting my spots. So this is a tilt effect that's tilting my spots. If I bring up my profiles here again, let's go into a different, we'll go into Q3. And then if I bring this up, oh, sorry, wrong one. Notice that my washes are also tilting. This is not on a master. It's not on a size master, anything like that. So it's just on or off. So just showing you that I haven't recorded into this tilt, into the actual queue. If we open it up and view it, and view the effects, it's just spots. So it doesn't have the washes in there. I'm sorry, it doesn't have the profiles in there. But because the profiles have tilt, it'll work. In this one, it's because we just recorded an empty queue stack, so that's going to include all of the attributes. Here, let's turn this off. So this is going to be color. I don't know if yeah, so this one, notice how the color is working, but the tilt is not. And if I press play here, you'll see the lights in the back, those profiles go green, and then they go red, but they're not moving. They're not positioning themselves. They're just changing color. That's because the only thing that's in here that got included in this queue is color. There's intensity as well. So whatever attributes you include into the queue will get covered by that live copy master. So again, in order for me to recreate that, let's bring this down. In order for me to recreate that, I would pick my profiles. I would give them intensity because I want intensity in there. And then I would just give them like white or something. It doesn't need to be a specific color, just white, bring RGB values into there, record, triple tap. I don't need to give it a group ID here because it knows that I use those spot fixtures and I gave them attributes. So this time I can just say live copy master and I can tell it what group I want to copy from, which is going to be the spots again, group 7. Clear that out. Press play to activate it, and you can see immediately they turn red. And then when I hit play on the master group, they turn blue and they turn green. But notice they didn't move. They're not doing anything else. They're just including just the attribute that I included. Okay. That is live copy master. Pretty easy, pretty powerful. You can use it to get yourself out of a jam in lots of little ways. Really pretty cool. Now let's talk about the other one we're going to talk about, which is going to be live macros. Macros in general, as we know, are just things that we can record in a console. It's ways that we can record multiple button presses to a console. And then when you activate that macro, it's going to activate all those button presses that you did all at once. So in the same vein, we can, I wanted to get rid of this. So let's see if I can get rid of it down here. In the same way, we can create kind of temporary macros, live macros, that only work in the moment. As you see, we're going to go through it. You'll see that we can kind of expand that. We can use these macros in other ways and stuff like that. So we're not limited to only using them in a live situation. So in order to get into, there's two ways to get into a live copy macro. The first way is to hold control, and then the master go button, which I can't get to because my toolbar is there. Let's move this real quickly. Huh. Let's do that. I gotta shrink up my stuff a little bit because my toolbar is in the way, and I'm not gonna open the window right now to get rid of it. You see how I have this big open space here? For anyone who just happens to not know what that is, if you go into the visualizer and you go to overlay viz, that's what will allow you to have this open space here to put your visualizer. So it's nice to have it there when you want it. So in order to get live copy or live macro, sorry, going, control, and then once you hit control, hit the big go button on your crossfade section. Once you do that, it's going to put it into record mode. So right now, when you see this teal colored bar here, it's recording everything you do. So this is where you want to be careful about what you press, what you do, things like that. So if I bring up spot static, bring up the fader. Now, it gets, I don't want to say confusing, but it's a little odd when you bring up a fader and your expectation is that this would turn on and be red. You're not going to see that. So you have to just remember that. Same thing up here. Let's do, that was what, spot static. Let's do wash tilt. And it's going to remember where you bring it. So if I only bring it to 30, 40%, or something like that, if I pick my beam lights and I say at full and make them, let's see if they will make them magenta. Notice how I'm not seeing what button is being pressed. Again, you kind of have to just trust that the buttons that you're pressing are happening. You might not see the button getting pressed and stuff, but it's working behind the scenes. When you press play again here, it's going to stop recording the macro. See, the blue bar goes away. So all it's done is it stops recording it. Then you have to hit it a third time in order to activate the macro that you've recorded. So if I hit it a third time, there's everything that I did. Now, the only thing that I didn't get out of it is intensity on the beam lights, the ones back here in red, or yeah, you can see the fixtures there and highlighted in red, because I didn't give it intensity. That was my bad. If you remember, I picked the beams, I gave them magenta, which activated. You can see the beams and magenta activated, but I never said at full. I never actually gave them intensity. So now if I were to say at full, enter, now they come on. So that was my bad. These are, things you have to think about when you're doing it. Of course, you can always, if you clear out the console, it's live now. So your macro's done, it's live, it's outputting. If you want to clear out your console, of course, you just clear it out. You can always clear it out with time. So I'm typing in 2 for 2 seconds and then clear, and that will clear everything in 2 seconds. These are live, so I would have to bring these down in order to actually turn everything off. If you don't want to hit control, if you don't want to have to remember that you have to hit control and then this, you can go into setup, view settings, playback, and your crossfade button function, because this is how you're making your live macro go. If you open it up, you can put it in live macro option, and then that way you don't have to hit control. Now it's just play, play, play. You just hit it 3 times in order to do what you want. Okay, so now it's just play. Oh, sorry, let me do that again. Huh. Maybe it's waiting for me to do some stuff here. No. Let me release everything. play, live macro. Huh. Let's try this one. Well, so yeah, I should be able to use this. I'm not sure why it's not. Let's put it back in. Whoops. Let's put it back as default. Let's see. That still works. So yeah, live macro, it should work if you put it in that function. I'm not sure why it's not. I'm not going to get too deep into why it's not. I'll have to play with it. It could be just I'm using a laptop and my mouse is not just activating it or something like that. It also will remember. Well, see, here's a good example. I'm not in layout 1, so I'm in macro mode. There's nothing really I can do because I'm stuck. So I have to hit play again, play again. That activates my macro. Now that I'm in here, I got it. Now I can do it. But once you're in macro mode, realize things aren't going to change until you activate that live macro. So now I can, again, bring up beam static. I'll bring up my spot static, and then it will honor times for you as well. So if I bring up my spot static and then I say 3 seconds to the out up position and 5 seconds to red, and then I stop it, and then I press go. Oh, let's try again. Control, play, 3 seconds to red, stop recording, go. Oh, I tried this, I swear, the other day, and it worked fine. Let's try if we just do. Well, I got to tell it what fixtures. So again, my bad. If we put it in the mode, if I say spots, 3 seconds, red, stop, and then go. Now it does it. If it's only one thing, I mean, if that's all I was doing was spots and changing the color, that I don't need a macro for. But if I'm doing multiple things and trying to change my beam lights and my spots, so now if I were to control play, now if I were to say spots, 2 seconds to blue, and then I want the beams, 4 seconds to the in position, and my profiles to just go to the out up position. Stop and then go. And that's where everything happens. So it's a little bit nicer because it's you have multiple things going on that you might not be able to do. With a PC, if you had a PC system, great thing to be able to do. I can't do multiple actions on a PC. Much harder when I don't have physical faders and things. So if you know what's coming up, a look or a transition that you need is coming up, it's perfect time to use a live macro. The last thing about live macros, when you press record, so the minute I say control and press go, and it's in record mode, and I do something, let's bring this down, let's bring spot circle up, we'll press play on wash tilt, and we'll bring this up. When I press play again, it's going to stop recording it. If I press play a third time, it's going to activate it like normal. But right now, the macro itself is in the macro window down at the bottom. It's your last one. So before I press play and get rid of it, it's always going to be there temporarily. If I hit play, it's going to disappear. But now it gives me the opportunity to copy it. I can take it, copy it, put it anywhere, and then I can name it and say, you know, macro 1. I'll call it LB for live macro 1. You know, and if you had a bunch of these, you could kind of do some cool things. And if you say, oh, I might use that in the future or something, or I'm going to want to repeat that, then copy it, make a copy of it, and then you can use it. If I hit play again, it's going to do my live macro. That was it. It disappeared. If I clear it out, or turn everything off, I should say, and then activate my macro, that was my actual macro. Granted, I had other things going on. I had some live stuff going on, but the actual macro that I did was just bringing up these. I could also see still the macro, of course, by saying view data, and this shows me all of the buttons and faders and things, movements that were going on. The last thing is, because it's a macro, you can then use it elsewhere in your disk. So what's nice is, now that it exists, I could, for example, use it as a QStack macro. So here, let me see what number it is. So it's macro 456. So here, if I do B456, now when I bring up my pars and I go to that second Q, it's going to activate that macro. Okay. That's about it for today. There's not much else we can go. That's a pretty good lesson for live macros and live copy master. Live macros were introduced all the way back in 1923. I know it seems like a world away or a time away. 1923 was a long time ago, since we're on now 198 and stuff like that. So it's been around a while. Utilize it, play with it, see how it works for you. Let us know if you have any suggestions, and yeah, happy programming. Next week, I believe we have, what's coming up next week? MVR, I believe we're doing MVR import. Don't quote me on this, but I think that's the plan. MVR, my virtual rig, how to import my virtual rig, and how to use that with MagicQ, and how to create pixel maps and stuff from MVRs, possibly. So join us next week. Always happy to see everybody here. Happy programming, and we will see you in the future. Have a great week, everybody.